if a woman is promiscuous, she is condemned. If a man is promiscuous, he is praised. This double standard is wrong. And then basically, feminists agree and think that women should also be praised for being promiscuous. Red pillars agree with the double standard and they think that's just human nature. But actually, the Bible teaches us that both should be condemned, and actually, we should both be steering away from promiscuity. I wondered, as you've turned towards Christianity, whether you had any thoughts on that whole thing and what the Bible has to say.
Yes, it's absolutely true. Like promiscuous is unacceptable in men and in women. And it doesn't surprise me, that you said, okay, feminists want to like say that they should be praised for promiscuity as well. And I do see that red pillars often use that nature, like we're biologically programmed, almost as an excuse. And what I teach then is that you have to differentiate, right? We're not just primal beings, we're not just what is it called?
Animalistic, I
Yeah,
think.
animalistic. We do have a soul, whether you believe in it or not, but still we're not limited to our animalistic nature. And of course, as men, you could say, okay, men were made to spread their semen and all that stuff, but have a little bit of common sense as well. And there's also a little bit of a misconception because spreading your seeds and actually taking care of them and just sleeping around in your 20s, there's a major difference. you know that's what they say, okay, men were programmed to spread their semen. Yeah, but at least those men actually took care of their children, and you're just sleeping around and not having any children at all.
And yeah, and on the topic of sleeping around, you've said multiple times in your content that that's just filling a hole, isn't it? It's just kind of young guys pretending to be bravado and pretending that they can. Oh yeah, look at me pulling all these women. I mean, I know plenty of people like that at university, and it's really hard. It's like talking to a brick wall. Sometimes you try and explain why it's not so good for your soul and why it's not so good for the women involved, and everyone wants just to kind of shout you back down again. But how would you try and convince that kind of guy who, he's in the minority insofar as he's confident and he's able to pull women and sleep around, but how do you tell him that, like, no, like what you're doing is actually very damaging for yourself, and that you're not, as you've said, you're not actually spreading a seed, you're just kind of doing it for pleasure and filling that hole? How do you speak to that kind of person?
What I have learned, and what I needed to learn, is to simply understand that people are either receptive to it or not. If you tell a dude who's sleeping around, hey, listen, it's wrong, and he starts saying, no, it's not wrong, and starts, getting defensive and justifying his actions, yeah, do what you want to do. Like, you have to determine the level of emotional intelligence of the people you're having the conversation with. Because what is the point of trying to convince him when you're speaking against a brick wall? You're just wasting your energy. When the time is right, he will be receptive. It's that simple.